turn 1.
He is almost exactly a half a lap down to the field as the leaders hit turn 1. Kyle Larson in turn number 3. Front of the pack, there's still no change. 2 by 2 for the lead.
Michael McDowell inched out in front for a moment, but just as he got the advantage, Cindric rallies back on the outside. Now he will stick a fender out in front. The third wide lane, it's getting momentum. It's about to crack into the top 10, and it's led by Bubba Wallace.
Goes from the top 10 till about the top 8. Bubba Wallace on the outside, leading that line out there to the bottom top side of the racetrack. Back up front, though, it continues to be Michael McDowell, this time a car length out front.
In just 2 laps, Noah Gregson up 14 spots, and Ross Chastain up 13. Denny Hamlin lost 10 spots in 2 laps. Bubba Wallace has got the outside line rolling. He is up to about the 10th position.
Daniel Hemrick led the charge in the 3 wide line until just a lap or so ago when Bubba Wallace saw that energy building up top, slid up to take the locomotive spot in that 3rd line up next to the safer barrier.
That is for the 11th position, and that's where Bubba Wallace is 3 wide. That lane has gotten all the way up to 11th. It's about to pierce the top 10 bubble. Bubba is hammered down. That Truex jumps up in front of Bubba.
Truex slides up. That'll advance that line up even further. Kyle Busch will fall back. Austin Cindric will fall back into the middle as well. Outside, it is Truex, but up front, it's McDowell.
McDowell has a car length and a half now on the inside lane. That's going to enable the next 3 lines to come closing in. McDowell by himself up front. They're side by side for the number 2 and 3 spots. Dave Moody 3 wide from there on back.
Didn't take long, did it? 3 wide from second on back. Rim riding the outside lane, Martin Truex Jr. MTJ with drafting help from Bubba Wallace. Daniel Hemrick can't make the run for the lead, at least not yet.
Bubba Wallace now will fade off of Truex's back bumper. That'll cost him some real estate. McDowell was out in front by a car length on the bottom, but here come the outside lanes of Cindric and Truex. 3 wide for the lead at Talladega.
Put Truex out in the top spot, at least by a nose. Cindric getting the push from Kyle Busch right behind him. Teammates down below. Michael McDowell, Todd Gilliland. He gives a big push. They're 3 wide for the lead, all 4.
Running at 190 miles an hour, a pack of 37 cars, 3 wide for the lead through the tri-oval. On the inside, Michael McDowell. In the middle, Austin Cindric. Top side, that is Martin Truex Jr.
And nobody able to get the advantage into turn number 1. Inches apart. Low lane, McDowell. Middle lane, Cindric. Then a little bit of daylight between them and the top side runner, Martin Truex.
Top side fades just a tad as Truex begins to back up to the front bumper of Bubba Wallace and all those that are lined up there. The main focus is on Michael McDowell. Oh, that changes. Bubba just shoves Truex to the lead in 3.
Heck of a punt to put him out front. Now, matter of fact, Bubba Wallace will slide down in the front of Austin Cindric in the middle lane. Up front, it is Martin Truex Jr. to lead them all 4.
He is going to be right in the middle of the racetrack, a trunk full of Bubba Wallace in that middle lane. Downstairs, side by side for the number 3 spot, that's pole sitter Michael McDowell. He's got his front row motorsports teammate Gilliland right on his back bumper.
Here they come into turn number 1, and as hard as they're racing, that's bad news for Kyle Larson. Larson just going into turn 3 as the field is midway between 1 and 2. Not imminent danger, Mike Bagley, but they are reeling him in.
Yeah, they are. Kyle Larson with 0 drafting help, riding all by himself on the racetrack. Everybody else is in the pack right now. That's halfway down the back straightaway. New leader, Daniel Hemrick now will get a shove from Ross Chastain.
Hemrick takes that white car Chevrolet out in front, bringing Ross Chastain with him. Those 2 out by a car length on a 3 wide run for the 3rd spot. Ross Chastain staying right there with him.
And that pack of 37 last time by from front to 37th, a mere 2 second separation. Daniel Hemrick leading here at the Talladega Superspeedway. Right behind him, Ross Chastain. To the inside, Michael McDowell.
Outside line for the moment has the juice, if you will. Beginning to reform back up in that extreme outside lane. Corey LaJoie now the leader of the pack up high.
Daniel Hemrick now feeling the heat from Michael McDowell down low. McDowell will draw even with Hemrick for the lead for a moment. Now Hemrick will change lanes. He'll dip up in front of LaJoie, pull back down in front of Chastain in the middle, and continue to lead to 3.
Hemrick in the catbird seat was able to slide up and down to get the spot. Ross Chastain sticks a nose down to the inside, all the way to the bottom part of the yellow line. Hemrick cuts him off there. He'll hold on to the lead.
Talking about Ross Chastain, he's gone from 32nd starting spot to the number 2 position in the opening 6 laps of the race. Back at Talladega, they're on the Alabama Gang Super Stretch, and they're 3 wide for the race lead.
It's rush hour at Talladega. Knotted together, 3 wide, about 10 rows deep. It's Truex, Briscoe, and Haley.
Haley on the bottom side, Briscoe in the middle, Truex on the top side. 3 wide all the way through turns 3 and 4. All of them nose to tail working their way off the corner.
Looks like the Air Force Thunderbirds in formation as they come back through the tri-oval, 3 wide all the way through the field. Again, on the bottom, it's Haley. In the middle, it's Chase Briscoe. To the outside, Martin Truex Jr. at the line, and Dave, they stay 3 wide.
No more than a foot, maybe 18 inches between those cars side by side. One tiny little mistake anywhere in the top 20, and this field explodes. But for now, they continue 3 wide for the lead.
What a thing of beauty to watch these NASCAR Cup Series drivers stack it 3 wide, inches apart, speeds approaching 190 miles an hour. Briscoe trying to emerge from the pack. He does it, but Truex will match him stride for stride.
Truex staying up there. He's getting good push, helped back from the backside by B.J. McLeod. It is Briscoe in the middle. He's got Denny Hamlin behind him. And up front, it continues to be Justin Haley with Daniel Hemrick pushing him.
All the while, the Alabama sunshine dances off of the sparkling paint schemes as they come back through the tri-oval in front of a massive crowd with Martin Truex Jr., the race leader from Talladega Super Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR. Back at the Talladega Super Speedway under green flag conditions. Lap 23 about to go on the board, and Jeff Striegel, it has not disappointed.
Unbelievable. From first to 37th, last time by 1.8 seconds. The separation. Just absolutely amazing. Lap after lap, including right now, 3 wide, although this time it's settled down, Dave. They're only 3 wide from third on back as they hit the banking and 1.
The Talladega Super Speedway definition of sheer boredom right now. Leader by himself, 3 wide for second, 3 wide for 6th, 7th, 10th, 12th. Here they come off turn number 2.
Watching Martin Truex Jr. on the outside of the racetrack. He's got B.J. McLeod and Zane Smith behind him. Chase Briscoe's got Denny Hamlin keeping him company in the middle, and then Justin Haley's got Daniel Hemrick downstairs. Here's Truex. He'll power back to the lead again in 3.
It's a great run off the top side, but that bottom line continuing to hook up. Haley lost ground going to the corner. He'll make it up into the middle. Haley slides back up in the battle for the top spot coming off 4.
They stay that way coming off the corner. Todd, a lot of times we see these teams want to migrate, whether all to the bottom, whether all to the top. It looks like all 3 lines are raceable, and there's no real distinct advantage.
And I think everybody's pretty comfortable with the line that they're in at this point. I don't think that there's any place they can go to get out of it. So I think they're kind of settling into this and see where this kind of run goes here.
Yeah, settling in 3 wide, front to rear, as they make their way off of turn number 2. No logging laps at this point, Bagman.
No, indeed. Chase Briscoe's going to lose a little ground in the middle. That allows Truex and Haley to step forward. Now Haley will lose ground. Truex again. He'll keep the lead thanks to B.J. McLeod.
Haley with another good run down on the bottom side with Daniel Hemrick in his hip pocket trying to push him forward. It's Briscoe in the middle. He's about a car length off the front 2 with Truex and Haley.
Still whipping around this 2.66 mile Talladega Super Speedway as they come flashing back to the tri-oval. One thing, however, Todd Gordon, our championship winning crew chief, that we look at with our timing and scoring monitors, and it's beginning to tell us a story.
Yeah, we're at the point now, the last lap for the leader, 52.4 seconds. We were running 50.5s not 15 laps ago. This is not a place that you see tire degradation where lap time goes away. This is teams kind of settling in, saving a little bit of fuel. They've got to get it where they can just have a one-can stop when that green flag cycle comes.
In layman's terms, I mentioned earlier they were clicking off laps at 190 miles an hour. Last lap, and again in formation, Alex Hayden, they have slowed the pace to 182 miles an hour.
And that is what the cars at the front of the field are doing. Todd made mention, as Dave and Mike and Jason have described lap after lap, they're 3 wide basically the entire field. So if you don't want to play the fuel-saving game and you say, hey, I want to go to the front, I don't like this slower pace, where are you going to go? That's the question mark right now if you're mired in the middle.
Yeah, there is absolutely no place to go. Now, some of the drivers we talked about bailed out of the pack and have at least slid to the tail end, and they're big-name drivers. Ryan Blaney is back there, William Byron, Brad Keselowski, Tyler Reddick, and others that have elected not to fight, at least not at the moment.
No, Kyle Busch is one of those who's lost 27 positions since the drop of the green flag. William Byron, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, they've elected, whether they've chosen to go towards the tail end or gotten shuffled out, that's where they're at right now.
When I look at it, I feel like Ryan Blaney had a purpose to go to the back. He's been the last car, not all the way up in it. If something happens, he's going to be clear, but he started, about 23rd? Backed himself to the back in the first couple laps, and he's just hung out back there. I got to believe there's a strategy play for him.
The racing is absolutely breathtaking at the moment. 27 laps in, they came across the line, no surprise, 3 wide. Advantage went to Martin Truex Jr., then Chase Briscoe and Justin Haley. The rest of the top 10, B.J. McLeod running 4th, Daniel Hemrick, Denny Hamlin 6th, Zane Smith is up to 7th, Ross Chastain 8, Bubba Wallace 9, and Daniel Suarez rounded out the top 10.
Wide through the tri-oval yet again. Blaney has aspirations of leading at Talladega again. They come to the line. He's not going to be able to do that. It's Kyle Busch up front.
Busch by about a fender as they enter the banking of turn number 1, but Blaney digging hard back downstairs. Still has drafting help, and here they come out of the penthouse. SVG wants the lead.
Shane Van Gisbergen will power 3 wide around the outside of Kyle Busch and Ryan Blaney. Here's SVG. Fender out in front for a moment. Now he gets more of a shove. Shane Van Gisbergen to the lead at Talladega.
Like a rocket, he slides out in front. He will bring Austin Dillon with him. Austin Dillon, no, bailing out. He'll go to the bottom side of the racetrack, running right through the middle, side by side for the lead with a pair of Chevrolets off 4.
Austin Dillon in the middle, Shane Van Gisbergen to the very outside. Ryan Blaney running right down on the double yellow line, trying to make it 3 wide for the lead, but he can't do it. At the line, it is Austin Dillon, Shane Van Gisbergen side by side.
Allies a lap ago, adversaries now. Austin Dillon pushed Shane Van Gisbergen to the point, immediately bailed out to the middle lane, hasn't got the job done yet. SVG still up by a nose.
SVG with help from Anthony Alfredo and Beard Motorsports power their way in the outside. The middle lane, you got Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch. Downstairs, you've got Ryan Blaney and Austin Cindric as they continue to stack it up.
Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric in that bottom line fell back just a little bit. They get a great run through the middle of turns 3 and 4, trying to even it up. They're battling for second, 3 wide up front. Shane Van Gisbergen.
He's got the Wendy's colors on board his Chevrolet Camaro. He's going to get shuffled out of line. Put the Dude Wipes Chevrolet at the front of the field at Talladega. To the lead, here comes Anthony Alfredo to pull the field to 1.
Alfredo, who was in the hunt for the Xfinity Series win until the very late going yesterday, at the front of the pack now in the NASCAR Cup Series. Anthony Alfredo leads the way off 2.
The field is in the hands of Fast Pasta. That's how he's known. He'll change lanes. He'll pull to the bottom of the racetrack. But that leaves Noah Gragson passage topside. Gragson goes to the lead. John Hunter Nemechek will go to second, and they're side by side for 3rd.
Gragson getting way out in front. He's going to bring John Hunter Nemechek with him. Those front 2 single file out in front of the side-by-side action with Anthony Alfredo. And here comes Kyle Larson side by side.
Kyle Larson, who was a lap down just a few moments ago. Alex Hayden, it did not take Kyle Larson long to crack the top 5.
Not at all. He had the penalty by NASCAR to do a pass-through penalty after the green flag flew. That forced him a lap down. Patience came out. He got the free pass when we got our first caution for the end of stage number 1. Good pit work, and now all of a sudden, here is Kyle Larson up to the number 3 spot and wanting a little more.
Here they come onto the back straightaway now, watching this 3-wide battle for 3rd. Alfredo on the bottom, Larson in the middle, Corey LaJoie topside, as now the front 2 will shift to the outside of the racetrack.
Single file through the front 2, 3 wide for that 3rd spot. Down low to Anthony Alfredo, Kyle Larson in the middle, and here comes Corey LaJoie on the top side.
Boy, got to tip the cap to Anthony Alfredo, giving a great run to that Beard Motorsports entry. They don't run often, but when they do, they make a name for themselves, and they're doing that here this afternoon at Talladega. So is John Hunter Nemechek. He leads them back to 1.
John Hunter Nemechek running the extreme outside lane, just a couple of feet off the safer barrier. He's got some challenges at the back door, though. He's got challenges to the left elbow, but for the moment, he'll lead the way off turn 2.
So John Hunter takes the point. He is in the middle of the racetrack, side by side behind him, with Gregson in the middle lane, Corey LaJoie in the top lane. And here comes that third lane brewing down low. It continues to be led by Anthony Alfredo and Austin Dillon.
Anthony Alfredo trying to get them regrouped once again. They went to the front with Austin Dillon. He fell back a couple of spots. Now he's back up there battling just on the back end of the top 5. Up front, John Hunter Nemechek pulls away.
Off turn number 4. What a shuffle we've had here at Talladega. And looks like we're going to do it again this lap by. With Nemechek up front, 3 wide for the number 2 spot. It's Anthony Alfredo, Noah Gragson, and on the outside, here comes a hard charging Corey LaJoie.
LaJoie letting it ride in that extreme outside lane up there in the penthouse suite, running 3 wide as they trail off turn number 2, battling for that number 2 spot.
John Hunter comes out of turn number 2. Again, he's in the middle lane. Last time through, he threw a block on LaJoie. He's going to stand pat in the middle for now. He'll keep everybody behind them. It's Nemechek in front by himself. 3 wide, 12 rows deep behind him.
Nemechek leads that stampede behind them. Now it's starting to pick up down to the bottom side. Anthony Alfredo getting a nice push from Austin Dillon. He sticks the nose out in front of Noah Gragson, trying to give chase to the top spot.
Here they come again off of turn number 4, back through the tri-oval, running together as one big pack with John Hunter Nemechek out front. He's now led more laps here this afternoon than he has in his entire career at the Cup Series level. But here comes Anthony Alfredo again.
Fast pasta right up onto the back bumper of the leader now. John Hunter Nemechek with Alfredo right there in his trunk. Down low, it's Austin Dillon. In the middle, Noah Gragson. Then topside, Corey LaJoie.
3 wide for the 3rd position now as the front 2 break away. The front 2 in Nemechek and Alfredo. They'll run the bottom of the racetrack up the back straightaway, and then that scrum that's lined up right behind him in 3 wide formation.
Things get a little disorganized in the bottom part, trying to get it regrouped once again. Austin Dillon down there on the bottom side in that 3rd position. Car length further back to Ryan Blaney. They're nose to tail with Fords behind him. Up front, John Hunter Nemechek.
With 45 laps to go in stage number 2 at the front of the field at Talladega Super Speedway, this time by yet again, it's John Hunter Nemechek.
Candy apple red Fords right there side by side of it. Right behind them, it is on the top side. We have got other drivers working their way through the top side in that 3rd lane, popping out with Daniel Hemrick.
Ross Chastain was up there. Michael McDowell is up there. So is Daniel Hemrick. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, teammates going at it. A couple of Ford Mustangs on the inside. Josh Berry to his outside. That's Noah Gragson.
We are overstocked on overstock.com in the front row. It is Gragson running, Josh Berry running down on the bottom of the racetrack. Noah Gragson on the outside of the racetrack. Here comes lane 3, Daniel Hemrick on the charge.
And that 3rd lane is inching forward. Shane Van Gisbergen in that outside line. It'll draw even. Hemrick gets a fender out in front. Hendrick goes to the lead. You've also got Ross Chastain there as well.
Chastain giving a big old push to Daniel Hemrick, working away on the top side. Right behind him, Joey Logano. The front 2 have been able to jump out in front of 3 wide for 3rd on back.
Yeah, Michael McDowell leads that outside lane, trying to get up towards the number 2 position as McDowell has 2 cars lined up behind him in Austin Dillon and Daniel Suarez. They're up to 3rd. They're up to side by side for 2nd and looking for the lead.
Climbing the ladder 1 rung at a time. Here comes Michael McDowell, the pole sitter, gets a big old side draft off Ross Chastain. Chastain continues to run the middle groove. They're all chasing Daniel Hemrick.
Daniel Hemrick running for his life right now. Started in the middle, changes lanes, pulls to the bottom. He'll throw the block there, but But here comes the outside line. Michael McDowell gets a shove from Austin Dillon. Now it's Michael McDowell powering to the lead.
Michael McDowell gets punted way out into the lead. He'll drop down to the bottom part of the racetrack, has a car length separation back to Daniel Hemrick. Those front two by themselves, 3 wide from 4th on back.
The driver that led the field to the green flag 142 laps ago is back out front at Talladega, and that is Michael McDowell. He will lead the field across the line. Daniel Hemrick in tow, and behind them again. They go 3 wide.
3 wide for second, third, fourth, all the way to the top of the banking goes the Austin Dillon machine. Ross Chastain is there in the middle. Josh Berry on the bottom. That's the battle for third.
They will stay in that 3 wide formation. 3 very distinct lanes of racing. Race leader Michael McDowell will opt to choose the one down low. Daniel Hemrick does as well. Hemrick gets a bump draft from Josh Berry, but hangs on to it off the end of the backstretch.
Austin Dillon making a big run, slides down to the middle lane, but now it's Michael McDowell. He slides up into the middle lane. He will lead him off by himself off of turn 4, side by side for second on back.
Michael McDowell opens up 3 car links now on the rest of the field. He does not look like he's interested at all in saving any kind of fuel. He's going to try to push the button. Outside lane is rolling. It's led by Daniel Suarez.
Yeah, the problem with a big gap like that for Michael McDowell is that the field gathers you up in a hurry. He continues to ride with the lead. Suarez, though, has closed up now, right on his back bumper. Down low, here comes Hemrick.
Hemrick and Suarez side by side for second. They are 3 wide for the 3rd position. Make that the 4th position on back. McDowell up front will change lanes. He'll block the advances in the middle, and they are locked up for position behind him.
Michael McDowell all by himself out there with the purple Tootsie's car. That Chevrolet for Daniel Hemrick. It actually for Daniel Suarez in that 2nd spot, along with Daniel Hemrick and Josh Berry.
8 rows deep, 3 wide racing as they come back through the tri-oval. Michael McDowell by himself out front, right behind Daniel Hemrick. Behind him, Josh Berry. In the middle, that is Daniel Suarez with a Ford all the way up against the outside safer barrier.
Up next to that outside wall, he runs about a foot off the safer barrier, just trying to creep up and make some ground on Michael McDowell, who's done a pretty good job, Mike Bagley, of holding off all 3 lanes.
He's done a successful job up to this point, but he's got some new customers that are knocking at the door right now. Outside line, now led by Alex Bowman. Here you got Todd Gilliland out there. Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch up in that mix as well.
That line really starting to form, make it 5-6 cars on that outside lane trying to give chase. They'll fall back a little bit. Michael McDowell with a car length and a half in front of that side-by-side battle for second.
That continues to be Alex Bowman in the middle of the racetrack, and Daniel Hemrick downstairs, that wheel-to-wheel battle for the number 2 spot. It continues to be Michael McDowell up front. Here's Josh Berry back in that inside lane for the number 4 spot, trying to go to the inside.
McDowell has shown the ability of keeping this field at arm's length. You wonder how much fuel he may be expending in that effort. They are 3 deep behind him, about 10 rows back as they work off turn 2.
Alex Bowman changes lanes. He'll lead the middle lane now, and that leaves Todd Gilliland to lead the outside. Gilliland is up to a 3 wide battle for second. Here he goes. He wants the lead. Brad Keselowski just shoving him off the end of the backstretch.
This is what racing at Talladega is all about. 3 wide from second on back. Michael McDowell squirts it out there in front. Up top, it is his teammate Todd Gilliland with help from Brad Keselowski. 3 wide for second.
42 laps to go. Not everybody, though. Todd Gordon is running at the front of the field and racing 3 wide. You drop back. Bubba Wallace is out back. Truex, Ty Gibbs, Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, Hocevar, Blaney, Ryan Preece, they're all running at the tail end of the field.
And these guys are trying to save as much fuel as they can. Running back here, just doing what you can, taking the draft off this 3 wide racing. It's got them in a position where maybe they can make the mileage to get to where they want to. It's interesting to see the final 2 cars. You've got Ryan Preece behind Ryan Blaney. Had incidents last week, but as Kim told us, they had marshmallows this week, and Ryan Preece said Blaney's a guy I need to be behind pushing at the end of the day.
And they have made up very nicely. We'll find out if their friendship will continue to blossom here as we get in the closing laps at Talladega.